make sure we're doing good here. All right. Let me do my test. Make sure everything is well. I think I'm good on YouTube, good on Facebook. Waiting for Twitch. Welcome, welcome. All right, I see Facebook. See, YouTube is good. YouTube is good. And Twitch is good. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Thursday. It's Book Club Thursday. I am bringing to you today our very first Book Club Thursday. But I saw this one, of course, me always thinking about investing, me always thinking about money. I don't think you can see it. My head is blocking it. But it's called What Do Athletes Do With Their Money? It's actually a really interesting conversation. So let me go ahead and get this going. I'm probably going to have to unmute the site. But it's going to cause everything to probably play on the... I have the chat up as well. So let me go ahead and unmute that site. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get my shortcuts down here sooner or later. So let me go ahead and mute me, unmute the site. Boom.
I don't look good. Damn.
It's Gucci, bro. Like, you know how we say
It's
Gucci.
real Gucci. We gotta go on a date, shit. Crowder done came up. Crowder done came up.
All right, let's see what else we got. We gotta get your bottoms right now.
They messing with the shirt.
Hey.
I'll make me a baby tonight. I'll make me another.
We had to fight to get a meal. Yeah, wrongfully accused. We had to fight to get a bill. That's why we right to get a deal. He on the team, he gotta eat, you know. Despite the skills, keep it riding for the fam. You gotta like the win.
All right, hopefully that's working. I definitely want to double check. Y'all know me, trying to make sure everything's going well. 11 minutes in, but it's gonna be a good show. Trust me. Let me just get going. Make sure everything is playing right. Y'all know me, trying to make sure everything's going well. 11 minutes in, but it's gonna be a good show. Trust me. Let me just get going. Make sure everything is playing right.
But in the past bad, work up in the trash bag.
Y'all know me,
I'll pass a lot
trying to
of
make
take
sure
the
everything
test
is
before I
going
pass
well.
class. Yeah, and my family needed bread. I had to come correct. That's why I keep airing it out like I just passed gas.
I think LeBron galvanized that team. He's a great leader. And I think that was the problem with that, with the Clippers. You know, they didn't even want to be a part of the restart. They didn't want to come to the bubble. And when you see LeBron, everybody outside of Dwight Howard, of course.
Yeah.
But everybody is on the same.
Goofy.
Everybody's on the same page. It's hard. It's one of his hardest because he's in a bubble. He's not with his family. None of these players are with their family. I can't imagine being away from my family for 3 months. So it's hard in that aspect from a personal standpoint. But from a professional standpoint, it got to be the easiest. You know, this restart.
You haven't seen the news on the bubble. They hanging. The
got-
bubble is a breeze right now.
But bro, it got to
You know
be
what I'm
the
saying?
easiest for LeBron.
right,
You know,
cool.
you know, before COVID hit, I want to correct.
All right, like I said, this is called I Am Athlete, and this is a podcast. And if I'm not mistaken, Brandon Marshall, Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder, and Chad Johnson on this episode. I don't know if it's all of their shows. From my understanding, I believe it's Brandon Marshall is over like the head, and maybe executive produced it. But I could double check on that after this. But I'm gonna go ahead and start this. I'm gonna walk away real quick, take my little test phone to the side, make sure everything is working. But watch up, and I'm gonna be back in, and we'll definitely talk good. I know the first half they kind of breaking down the finals, introducing I think Chef Nancy and whatnot. I've seen the episode before, so I'll come in about maybe 30 seconds, but have a good time. You know, make yourself comfortable. Hopefully this is around your lunchtime. You could tune in, check in with more than just one person, and you can study game with a community. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna let that play. I know the audio on that side is working. Just want to make sure that everything else is working good too.
Tired, so now Brandon gonna try to dress me up like I'm some goddamn 3-year-old. So we gonna see what he got for me.
So we're going to do a little makeover real quick, okay? So we'll be right back.
I don't look good. Damn.
It's Gucci, bro. Like, you know how we say
It's
Gucci.
real Gucci. We gotta go on a date, Chef. Crowder done came up. Crowder done came up.
All right, let's see what else we got. We got to get your bottoms right now.
They're messing with the shirt. Ooh. I'll make me a baby tonight. I'll make me another.
We had to fight to get a meal. Yeah, wrongfully accused. We had to fight to get the pills. That's why we right to get a deal. He on the team, he gotta eat, you know. Despite the skills, keep it riding for the fam. You gotta light the wheels straight up. But in the past bad, work up in the trash bag. I'll pass a lot to take the test before I pass class. Yeah, and my family needed bread. I had to come correct. That's why I keep airing it out like I just passed gas.
I think LeBron galvanized that team. He's a great leader. And I think that was the problem with the Clippers. You know, they didn't even want to be a part of the restart. They didn't want to come to the bubble. Mm-hmm. And when you see LeBron, everybody outside of Dwight Howard, of course,
Goofy ass.
but everybody is on the same.
Goofy.
Everybody's on the same page. It's hard. It's one of his hardest because he's in the bubble. He's not with his family. None of these players are with their family. I can't imagine being away from my family for 3 months. So it's hard in that aspect from a personal standpoint. But from a professional standpoint, it got to be the easiest, this restart.
You haven't seen the news on the bubble. They hanging. The bubble is a breeze right now, bro.
But bro, it got to be the easiest for LeBron. Before COVID hit and the NBA shut down, the Clippers was actually taking off. They were coming together, and that was going to be their biggest problem. Clippers didn't come back with the right mentality. Montrezl Harrell came back out
How y'all
of shape
feel about
with
that?
Williams at the strip club.
So you're saying
I Magic City. So but
Have you had Magic City
so let me say
you're
this.
putting an asterisk on the championship?
No, but I'm not putting an asterisk on it. No, I think it's LeBron. He found a way to get an edge. Like that's NFL. Guys are doing the same thing. Like
You
this is an
sending some
opportunity.
House of Athlete supplements though?
Nah, I ain't do that.
If he gets to 6, I will put him with MJ.
That's what.
So what he got to do to be better than MJ?
That's tough.
He need to go. He need to be reborn again and get a new mom and dad. Bro, MJ is that dude. I'm telling you. This old school talk, but MJ was just that dude. MJ was just that dude. That was that guy. And to the point about the asterisk, I like Fred bringing it up. I believe that this year's championship is harder than 19 and 21 and 18 and 17 and 16. Bro, you hit it on the head. I got to leave my family for 3+ months and perform and go out here and go against the best in the world when my entire life was blown up. People are talking about asterisk with this season. I would say this year's champion is a better measuring stick
I disagree.
than any other year.
This is why I disagree. You're at the stadium 7 in the morning. You're home 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right? When you got home, you had to make sure you probably decompressed for an hour. Your time.
Yeah.
And then your boys, your kids, or whatever it might have been while you were playing, they attack you, they jump on you. You got to make sure you're up. You got to muster up that second win and take care of the house, right? In the bubble, they ain't got to do that. Fan friendly. Hold on, let me finish.
Fred, how hard is that, bro? You just said fans and family. Hang out with your kids, have sex with your wife, and talk to some people that like you. Bro, that's not hard.
We're talking about being in the bubble, though. Listen,
Not to have to tend to the hens. I call it tending to
when
the hens.
when I was a rookie in the NFL, you had to pay for porn site.
Had to pay for them.
Pornhub.com free. They whatever they doing, that's what they doing. They handling business in the bubble. Whatever they gotta do,
Well,
they
they
gonna
tried
do.
to. My man, what was that? The Houston Rockets man.
Yeah.
He found him a little tester girl that wanted some action. He done brought her to the room and got kicked out.
Bruh, that's the sport.
Fred,
That's
your point about the bubble is my opposite point. Is that you don't have to do all that. You don't have to. So it's easier to win in the bubble.
I thought you said it was. Didn't he just say it was gonna be the hardest championship?
Trust me.
What we got?
For you, I have escovitch fish.
Ooh. And I'm gonna eat it.
For you, I just have sides. For the rest of the guys, I have oxtail, rice and peas.
Oh,
Rice
chef,
and peas.
you ain't made the oxtail, chef. Oh, chef. Oh my goodness, crazy. Chad, the oxtails are stupid.
I got the tag this time.
All right, so what we got going on here?
Caribbean today. So you have escovitch snapper, with rice and peas and cabbage.
It's
And
been 2 years, fellas. I ain't ate no meat in 2 years.
Get you some meat in you.
Fred doesn't eat fish or beef, so he just has a side. And these two gentlemen have oxtail, rice and peas and cabbage, and fried plantain.
Why y'all decide on the diet y'all decided on?
I just don't eat beef, and fish will kill me.
Oh, so you're allergic to fish,
I can eat shellfish. I'm backwards.
but you decided not to eat beef.
Right.
Bro, that cow ain't do nothing to you,
Chef,
man.
This is so good.
we talked a little bit offline about the NBA players, the restart, the bubble. Like, I don't know if you know, but these guys been in the bubble for 3 months. And
Okay.
it took like 2 months before like their wives, their girlfriends can come in.
Yes,
You think that's hard on the man and the women?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, well, then again, most of the season, the guys are on the road anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But chef, they still getting sex on the road.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I-
Oh my goodness. Delete, delete, delete.
So y'all ain't live like I live then. You still, they talking about they on the road, they ain't with their wife. They still getting sex if they on the road. Y'all ain't got no game, Fred. If you ain't getting no sex on the road, you ain't got no game.
I'm drinking. I ain't got nothing to do with
Man,
that conversation.
it's women sitting outside the hotel. All you gotta do is go upstairs and come back down.
Oh, for real, that happened for
I
real?
went on the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm.
Chad.
I played for the Jaguars, man.
Chad.
We was sorry. Ain't nobody waiting
Y'all
for
was
us.
sorry like that. The Dolphins was terrible. But I could always sneak downstairs by that bar and find me somebody smiling.
you?
For real?
I'm cutting this.
Me?
You said you?
No, don't cut it.
I ain't know of it like that.
No. Me and my wife ain't beefing. I'm retired, so we good to go.
Okay.
When you walked in the hotel, all you saw were fans. Y'all were lying. Think about this, fella. Listen, play this shit. When y'all walked in the visiting team hotel, y'all saw the fans lined up behind the little ropes, right?
Yeah.
And behind them were another row of people. Y'all ain't never looked behind that second row to them girls sitting back there with them skirts on.
I never really
that was
looked.
smiling.
Yeah, but what you gonna do? We got
I was-
security guards on every floor.
Every
like,
floor.
Bro,
You
I
come
would
down.
sprint upstairs to get my bag in the room and sprint straight downstairs. Every away game I ever played in, I would find a strip club in the area, and we go to the strip club. When we went to Buffalo, we go over to Toronto, because Buffalo got garbage strip clubs. Bro,
All right, Chef.
we go to Toronto, and it's a strip club in Toronto. They got red lights around the top and got a massage parlor and a wing spot. So think about that. Strip club, massage parlor, wing stop, all in the same little cortex. That's why we never beat Buffalo Bills, because we were partying.
That's
You
it.
ain't come.
No, I ain't come.
I know you was in the room square drinking water and shit. Big come drink.
I'm trying to win the game. You wonder why? Y'all wonder why I went crazy in Miami.
Hey, defense was sound.
Defense, y'all was good.
Defense was sound.
Y'all was.
Yeah. Really, y'all ain't never party on away trips?
No, bro. No, ain't about no party.
So y'all got to the hotel and went to
I don't
y'all
know
room
about
and sat
them, boy.
down.
I was gonna.
And
My thing is, when we land, we would, early in my career when I ate bad, we would go eat, me and Elvis Dumanville go eat soul food. That was our thing. Whatever city we went to, we tried to find, the best soul food restaurant. But after that, bro, I was getting massages. I was seeing a chiropractor.
How did you find the best soul food restaurant?
Elvis found them. That was his job.
He would find it online.
Yeah.
So you can also find the best strip club online. And then you slide there and you find somebody, because you got that little 4-hour window. That 4-hour window, man, we used to get loose. Y'all were missing out.
Now you know why the Dolphins was terrible. All right, look. So I think this is an important topic, because every time I, read our comments, and I don't know if y'all know, but we had like 3,000 people in our chat when we aired our last episode. Y'all need to subscribe. That's what they need to do.
Subscribe.
So people need to subscribe.
Subscribe. I know you see this.
Yeah.
You know I don't play that shit.
the way people were engaging with us was as if we had 1 million, 2 million subscribers. And one of the things that stood out, they like, man, Fred T, I love his knowledge. I come here and I learn, like OGs. We got a lot of athletes watching. We got a lot of people watching. And, one of the biggest challenges that we all have, and I feel like is universal, is money. That's a big challenge, Channing. When we make it, it's almost like everybody make it. And when I watch draft night and I'm on ESPN and you see a guy gets the phone call, hello, yeah, this is Coach Shanahan from the Denver Broncos. We're going to select you with the next pick. And then all of a sudden it happens, boom. And what do you see? Not just him crying. Everybody. Why are they crying? So for me, man, like I know one of the biggest challenges for me and something I struggled navigating throughout the whole 13 years was how to help friends and family.
It was tough on me because I was extremely family oriented. Like I think a lot of us are. We're very family oriented. Everybody behind you, they come to your high school games, they fly into your college games, they, you know what I'm saying? They're there with you. But bro, as soon as you touch the NFL, and this is a thing that people think about, but they don't really think about. Everybody thinks as soon as you touch the league, you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
As soon as you get drafted, even 7th, 6th round, you're a millionaire. And it's not like that. But when I had nobody living in Miami. I didn't know I was getting drafted to the Dolphins. I was in Atlanta, my sister was in Atlanta. I get drafted to the Dolphins. As soon as I get drafted, my mom moves to Miami, my sisters moved to Miami, my brother-in-law, my niece, and my nephew, because now, like B, you said, we made it. We made it. And that was a tough thing for me, was to look at, like, I don't just need to take care of myself.
Just found out my mic was muted.
I just
my
didn't
bad,
make
y'all.
it. I have to think about everybody. I have to try to set everybody up. And we were talking about it off air where you were like, you wanted everybody to have a business. You wanted everybody to try to kind of feed off you. And I think that's the flaw. As an older man now, I didn't know this as a 20-year-old rookie, but as an older man now, you can't save everyone. If you give all your money out, then you're gonna be broke and you can't help anybody now when we've all been retired for years.
Okay, so you came in the league with that mentality. When did it shift? And when it did shift for you, was there any relationships broken?
A lot of relationships broken. A lot, because one thing I did was I would always tell people, if you're paying rent, I will front the 20% mortgage.
That's
but a lot of
interesting.
people don't know this. Like, you can front 20% mortgage and get a hell of a rate. If you can put 20% on the table up front on whatever house or apartment or condo you have, you can get a hell of a rate. You can get, right now you can get under 4%, but you can get 4 to 5%, where I would say, so you're paying this person $1,500 a month. I'll pay 20% down, find a place that you can get where you're paying me $1,300 a month. And I own the place and you can live there, and instead of paying them, pay me. It sounds good until they get resentment towards you for being their landlord. And
Clever.
That's the smart way to do it, but to be able to tell your cousin or your sister or your brother or your mom, I'm your landlord, and whatever way you put it, that's an uncomfortable conversation. So I think for people that new money is what you're talking about, people with new money.
Yeah.
You have to have uncomfortable conversations with your siblings, with your loved ones.
New money.
Because if we all are happy, we all are broke. And that's how I really feel about this whole conversation.
If we all are
about
happy,
one person
we
having
all
this
broke.
and everybody else trying to get.
About
If
to
we're
start
all
taking
happy,
some
we're all
notes.
broke. Somebody has to set a standard.
When I first got in the league, somebody said, hey, Rook, you're gonna have to learn how to tell your people no. And that was the hardest thing for me. Saying no to people who helped me out on every aspect of getting to where I got, was telling them no. Whether it was my brother, sister, my mom, I ain't telling my mom no. My grandmother, who raised me, I'm not telling her no for shit. Whatever she wants, she could get, that's baby. That, and then trust. People come, they befriend you, and they tell you, these are the things you need to do with your money.
Interesting.
Being comfortable with a financial advisor. They have their philosophies and they're doing it with your money. So when you don't come from money, and when you're talking about financial awareness or the lack of, that's the biggest challenge for young guys who acquire and come into money. Nowadays, these dudes getting $100 million contracts. They can make mistakes because inflation hasn't changed. I got drafted in '98, 22 years ago. But these guys have more of an opportunity to make more mistakes. I was fortunate to play 13 years. I got 4 contracts. but I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
From listening to people, from not saying no when people was trying to
What was
tell
the
me
biggest mistake you
to
made?
say no.
What was the biggest mistake you made?
The biggest mistake was not taking the time to learn these things. You know, your financial advisor would tell you, you go play ball. You play ball, we gonna handle everything. I didn't balance my X's and O's. I didn't really put anybody else in position to watch over them. But I got so comfortable with my people, I'm like, we buddy. They good. And I trusted them. And then it went south. So if you know my story, started with a black agent who ended up getting arrested, Ponzi schemes, that went south. I learned a little from that, but then I entrusted someone else.
Taking
who
notes, man.
Pretty much did the same thing. Started out conservative, but then he ended up putting us into some other deals that was a little bit more aggressive, but it was for the benefit of him. So I learned from that. Hindsight is 2020. I feel like I take that message now. I make more money now from sharing that message with younger players and corporations and speaking engagements. So God put me in that position for a reason.
Yeah.
To share with my children. Now I'm better for it. I'm not saying that I'm the best money manager. I try to be, but at the same time, my message to the young guys is learn how to say no.
Yeah.
Everybody wasn't always there for you. You know, take care of your immediate family, your mom, your grandmother, and everybody else.
First.
Put them in the business proposition. If you're gonna give them money, create an LLC. Make them do something. Now frame that business as an entity that's doing something for you. Now they can go and they can write those, you know, that money that they're receiving off. Yeah. So it's different ways to maneuver around the tax system that'll benefit you.
You sound like Trump.
No.
Let me ask you a question.
That boy reckless.
Because your circle's small.
Yeah,
This
I
is
ain't
not
really have
political
one.
bashing,
So,
by the way.
You know, grandma raised me. My grandma raised me. My mama was in LA. And I got drafted. Obviously, my circle of friends was small. Being from Liberty City, those friends were dudes that were in the street. So what did they already have? Money.
Yeah.
Well, they was already eating. So I was already around money. Watch how they maneuver. Obviously, I didn't spend that kind of way.
He playing
But
with the
my grandfather
mocktails.
was extremely cheap for some reason. And so those values and me watching him over the years, for some reason, it was already in me. So once money came, you know, I'm always preaching about being cheap. With the jewelry and the watches, I know I talked to you before about never really buying anything real. Everything was always replica. Nothing was ever real. As far as yeah. Always,
Listen, man.
always. Like small example, people would always ask, even current athletes today, like, is it serious? Some of the stuff that I've seen documented, is it true that you bought everything replica and it wasn't real? I say, yeah, there was no point because the women have already done their Googles.
Listen.
So there's really no need and there's nobody to impress. I can get the same, like Hard Knocks, where I got my earrings from Claire's.
Yeah, I remember that.
With a black card. And the whole message was, I'm
With
still
a black
rich,
card.
I'm still me. I don't really need it.
Listen,
Who am I
man.
trying to impress?
Yeah.
Who are you
Watches,
trying to
50,
impress?
$60,000, $70,000. What time is it real quick?
10 o'clock.
How much that cost?
Nothing.
Time is free. So why am I paying for it? What's the point? You already got money.
To impress people.
Rappers different. They have an image to uphold, but I don't because I'm Ocho.
But they also get the fake diamonds. They also get the fake
they
jewelry
can.
too.
But
It's the same thing.
I'm Ocho. I got to a point in my career, money-wise.
But I'm Ocho.
I was trying to think of something
But
that
you
I could buy that was
XYZ.
bigger than my name alone. It wasn't nothing.
So,
nothing.
bro.
But then
You
you
had
got
to
to think
make a-
that mentality of fiscal responsibility was already in me before the money came, though.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a little easier. And then I didn't have a circle because my circle of friends come from or already had money because of what they did. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. But so this whole thing on Instagram, I believe, you posted a text thread with you and your daughter. You gave her $100.
Oh, yeah.
You gave her $100.
Yeah.
And she took it and she saved
Saved it, yeah.
And then she hit you back up.
For
and was,
20.
yeah, hey, I want to eat.
For $20, yeah.
So like you really that cheap?
Yeah, it's always been that way. And I try to instill that in them with just small stuff. I told her.
So that's intentional though. That's
intentional.
not just
Yeah, I'm not playing around. I'm not playing around. I'm trying to get them to get that same mentality I had and not think like, oh shoot, you know, my old boy, he got it. I can just keep asking for it. No, you know, this is a method that I use.
Money comes
in
and
college
goes.
at the time with the whole syrup sandwich, the ramen noodles, and I still eat that way today. And people always ask, like, dude, what are you doing?
But he
You got
playing with the
money?
mocktails,
Like, no,
though.
That's not how you operate. You don't move like that.
Yeah.
Money comes in phases. When you get a lump sum, my grandma always said, a fool in his money shall soon part ways.
The fool in his money
And it
shall
always
soon
happened.
part
Think about the people
ways.
you grew up with that had money. Do they have it now?
No, I mean, well, my people was in the street, so
Think
no.
of- Do they have money now?
No, they don't.
Fred, wherever you from, the people that had money in the streets or whatever they were doing, do they have money now?
Nope.
Shannon, people back in
Not
Atlanta,
no.
do they have money now? I'm 20 years in and I'm still straight. Still living the same lifestyle I lived once I got drafted. Still. If I wanna show off, if I wanna treat myself, I can do it. I can turn up, I can stunt. But it's really not me.
I gotta ask you though, now, like you saying, bro, now I can see it being easy because when all retire, we look and say, okay, we got 5 million.
Yeah, but it's
10
different.
million, 15, 20, whatever that next thing is.
I had the mentality already going in the league though.
But
already going in.
What about when you were getting $300,000 checks every time you played the game?
It went in. I didn't spend my.
You didn't look at that, bro, because that was the thing got me. To your point, bro.
I didn't even see it though.
I ain't have no money. My people ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't grow up like that. But I remember
I'm
when the
glad you said
Dolphins,
that.
my first check was $577,000,
Right.
and I sat and looked at that check. That was the third round signing bonus.
Yeah.
Back then, 577, bruh, and like that hit me. When you got those 300, 400, 500, whatever those $600 million checks, you can still put that right in the bank. That was what I struggled with.
Everything was direct deposit anyway. But think about it. Remember the story? First 2
Direct
years in the
deposit.
NFL,
He did DDs.
I stayed at Paul Brown Stadium.
What you mean?
My first 2 years in the NFL, I stayed at Paul Brown Stadium. I remember, I never forget, our coach was Dick LeBeau, and my mentality of not wanting to spend money in regards to what I got as a signing bonus, I ain't want to touch nothing.
Hold on, so where'd you stay? Where'd you sleep? What
do you call it? The players' room. Leather couch, game room, water, food, cafeteria.
This man.
There was no don't laugh.
Bro, there ain't no way you stayed in the locker room, bro.
Bruh,
dog, are y'all tripping?
And they all NFL stars.
I mean, I had nights.
I wasn't even into that.
We fly in.
I was strictly football.
Sacrifice.
I mean, we played in Minnesota.
You gotta
playing for the
look.
Dolphins. One time we played in Minnesota. We got back like 1 in the morning. We land. I called my wide receiver coach. I was like, "Yo, come to the facility, let's watch film." And we watched film, and then I end up staying at the facility. I had moments like that, but I never stayed days or years.
Days. I used it. You think that's bad? What about EJ? You know how smart EJ is with his money? Think about what he did his entire career. Didn't spend nothing. So my first 2 years in the league, Dick LeBeau was our head coach, and nobody ever bothered me because they understood what I was trying to do. It was my third year when Marvin came in, and Marvin forced me to have some type of responsibility and say, "This, you really can't do this. You can't live like this." And it wasn't until then where I actually had to start spending, paying rent and stuff like that. My only overhead was child support, and I needed that structure in a sense because it wasn't bad. Those I had kids from understood. I liked that structure, and it was good for me. That was my only overhead my entire career.
That's crazy.
As far as family needing and wanting, if you weren't there before, you wouldn't get nothing just coming once I made it.
How many people have you met or talked to, and even us, you can kill us, that have ever thought the way you thought? Because Chad, I ain't gonna lie, I've never. You talk about
cheap. You was cheap.
Nah,
he
was
talk,
cheap.
I was cheap, bro. I was cheap, but you talk about frugality, bro.
You ain't cheap.
I'm gonna go throw me $1,000 at Diamond.
You cheap, bro.
That man
I'm gonna throw me $1,000 at Diamond.
Hold up. What kind of car did I drive my entire career? A little smart car.
A little Focus or something.
Yeah. And I still got the same car.
Also
Still
saw the
got it.
Phantom, though.
What am
I like that Phantom.
TV money. Nothing had to do with football.
Compartmentalized.
Nothing. What am I driving right now, B?
A minivan.
That been nice though.
See?
No, it ain't. People know it ain't. Bro,
Hey, to work out, to go work out. Man, who driving a minivan?
See?
Yeah, I mean, money. That's a tricky situation. I feel
Everybody
like
got their own
universal.
ways.
For me, man, like I always felt like it wasn't a blessing just for me to make. It was a blessing for my family. You know, because we're trying to break generational curses, and we're trying to break the cycle. And I felt like, okay, don't use me, but use me. You know what I mean?
I like that.
I made it. We got the bag. Now bring me a business plan, something that makes sense, and I'm gonna invest in that. And I couldn't understand, bro, for 13 years telling people around me. And what I did was, when we was in Miami, it took me 4 years to do that. I drew a circle and I put names in here. Aunt Ronnie, Aunt Ann, this person, brother, sister, boom. I said, okay, if these people come to me with they thing, with everything together, I got them. I'll never say no.
Man.
And bro, nobody around
That's
me
love,
right now
man.
I can say it's good. And to me, that's the biggest failure in my career.
They're not good.
They're not good.
So
bro.
the percentage that you invested in, none of them turned out?
I never invested. They never came to me with a business plan.
The same exact
No, they
thing.
never came to me with a business plan. I
So
had people.
they just wanted a handout.
Yeah, but I got there's people never asked me for things.
Right.
I'm begging them.
Do
Please.
something. Right.
I'll find a consultant. You don't know, find a consultant.
Man, that's deep.
To teach you
That give me
how to
chills,
put together
man.
A business plan. But let me help you, because when this game is
Gotta
taken
help
away
each other,
from me,
man.
and I'm married and I got kids, that's the first responsibility. And I said it to everybody: mom, dad, brother, sister. I can do it now, making $10+ million a year. But when that ain't coming in like that, and I got to make that decision, I'm letting you guys know right now, I'm going this way. You know what I mean?
To be honest, through that too, that is too much to ask of a normal person to say, we have $1 million on the plate. How can I help you turn 200,000 into something, 300,000 into something? I had that same approach. Hey, if you're paying rent, let's buy a house and you can pay mortgage. If you're working for somebody, let's find a way to buy a business that you can do the same thing, but we're making the money. If you're making salary, let's make the money, let's make the nest egg, let's build a nest egg. That's harder from our side. It's crazy to say, I'll tell y'all this, as soon as we got our first check, we became the patriarch of all our families. As soon as we got out, and I went 3rd round. You went 4th round, right?
Yeah, 4th round.
You go, where y'all go? You went 1st round. Oh, lie. Look at me. You know what I'm saying?
I want to chime in.
But even 3rd round, like I just said, I told a story where my
Each
first
round
check
you
was
get paid
$5,
different.
A little bit over
Mine was
$500,000.
$385.
Nobody in our families, and I'll tell you this, I know for a
further
fact,
up you go,
nobody's
usually
ever,
the more money you get.
Nobody with the last name of Crowder that
At
has
first.
my blood in their system ever saw a check for $500,000. So now we're trying to structure, to your point, B, we're trying to structure a business plan with people that have never seen over 6 figures. So how can you expect them, and this is what I learned, how can you expect them to learn how to spend money when you're just learning how to spend money or learning how to save money?
Yeah.
And that's why I think the athletes and people that
But
new
you
money,
learned it though.
you learned it, but bro, I didn't learn. By the time you got to the Dolphins, I was like 4 years in, and I just started getting smart. And you be laughing when I got my $6 million.
Yeah, that boy used to sit down with me at the cafeteria. He'd be like, bro, I'm about to make $5 million next year.
Giving him
I'm
game.
gonna hit my number. I'm gonna go buy me 200 acres in Georgia, and I'm gonna be good for life. This little money I got over here gonna bring me in a couple $100,000. I'm gonna live off of that for the rest of my life. I'm thinking like, I'm doing the math, because I remember talking to Drake Bly. Drake Bly was like, yo, I'm gonna put up 16, 20 million. That's gonna bring me $1 million. And I'm thinking like, okay, why are you not going for the $1 million? You going for 200,000-300,000?
Bro, that's great.
It is, man.
B, you just signed what, 40 with the Dolphins?
47.
47 with the Dolphins. And I told B, and I just signed the year before, and I was like, bro, they're about to give me $6 million. I'm set for life.
Yeah.
And I remember B was like,
That's that
what?
wisdom, man.
But I was like, bro, they give me 6, and this after taxes now. I was like, 6, bro, at 5%, it's gonna make $300,000 a year. If you give me $300,000 a year, January 1st, the rest of my life, I'm set. And I'm showing out, and I'm going to the strip club with 300. And B used to be like, bro, what are you talking about? But that's the
Because I came from Denver, where Drake Bly, who was signing those big deals, he signed like Fred, like you signed 4 deals. Drake Bly signed a couple, so I'm around those boys, listening to him, Champ Bailey, and them, their money's bringing in $1 million, $2 million a year. So that was the bar for me. You know what I mean? So I was like, how do I get 3-4 contracts where my money's bringing in $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year? You know what I mean? So that's why I couldn't understand that he was literally sitting there comfortable, like, yeah, I just need 300,000. I'm like, damn, man, that's how my mortgage right there.
Yo.
I just bought this $4.1 million home, but it cost me $275,000 to maintain this. I need more than 300,000.
Hey, gotta keep investing.
Yeah, but 2 racks a month to damn show out. But one thing quickly, the intelligence of it, where I bought a house that was tore up and remodeled it. You seen my house, y'all seen my house. And I remodeled it, and now I made $500,000 off the house with just what I did to it. Like,
Good investment.
just because you have money, you ain't gotta spend it.
You know,
When you have money, still be strategic. Like, hey, bro, you got $6 million, $5 million, whatever it is. Man, why you mortgaging this and mortgaging that? because I don't want to spend my money. I heard my whole life spend other people's money.
Yeah.
OPM.
So I spend other people's money.
This is, if I could go back and do it again, you know, I don't know if you want to put a cap on this money talk or whatever, but this is what I would say. The best investment that we can make as athletes, first generation millionaires, is to invest in a financial advisor that can teach our family money, right? Like, I wish I did that. I tried to get it done the last couple years and it just didn't work out. But if I had, I would invest in one person to sit down with that circle. Okay, these people are in my circle. Don't know nothing about money. Teach them the basics, the fundamentals. That's what I would have did.
I think I was fortunate for my financial advisor to be my grandma. That was my financial advisor. Very strict, very detailed, very structured in everything she did.
Sometimes it don't take money to know how to handle.
Just her continuously harping on me about it over the years is the only reason I'm like that, because nobody that comes from where I'm from is about being fiscally responsible. It's about, I got it, and showing that you have it and stunning. You know, I'm from Miami, I'm from Liberty City. You already know how we operate and how we act. It's about looking like you are up to par. Even if you don't got it, it's about looking like you got it. And I was the complete opposite, and one of the few that came out of my area that didn't care about image. I don't care. I was more concerned with knowing I got it instead of looking like I do. And the satisfaction for me is not being able to buy the Rolex or the big chain, but just knowing I can get it. Yes, my shit ain't real, but if I needed it and wanted to do it, being able to do it, that brings me joy. That's enough.
Comfort.
For a better word.
Yeah, comfort. Were you comfortable when you were a kid? Before you had it?
Yeah.
But were your family really comfortable?
Oh yeah.
Cause we weren't. Like, I remember my mom trying to pay bills and we eating cube steaks and corn. You know what I'm saying? When you was a kid, now
Sugar bread,
did y'all struggle? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Did you struggle?
When I was young, I didn't know what comfortable was at the point. You don't know the difference.
Yeah.
And what the difference is?
You don't know.
You don't really need to press upon anything. We talked about it before. One of those episodes talking about the table next to us, they popping 5 bottles, we want to pop 6 or 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what we fall into those traps, right?
My bad, I didn't know.
And I wanted to ask this question, to everybody actually. What would you tell a young player, young athlete, that's what it's about? We got to give back in some capacity. Even if we don't directly do it, we have to make sure that they hear the message, and that's what this platform is for. So I'll start with you, Channing. What message would you give in terms of new money so these guys can avoid some of the pitfalls, recognizing what they should look out for, when they come into new money?
First off, get you an attorney and a financial advisor like
Say it again.
My attorney right now, I have him on retainer, and Johnny Williams is his name. That's my attorney, young black dude, and he's awesome. My mom, both my sisters, my brother-in-laws, even my friends can call Johnny, and Johnny will answer all their legal questions and also direct them to where they need to go, and I pay for all that. And I'll do it happily because of the fact that I would rather me pay him an extra $1,000 a month and let my homeboy know don't do this before my homeboy just goes off with no direction and spends up $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. But that would be the first thing, get a financial advisor and an attorney. But the thing is hard, and Chad, I think you right there with me, stack
Bro, that bread.
If you got $1 million invested, try to get to 2. If you got 2, try to get to 4. If you got 4, try to get to 6. And y'all know where I'm going. We'll keep adding 12, 24, 48, we can double it. After you retire from football, I'll look in the camera and say this. Young fellas, after you retire from football, your nest egg is all you have other than fame. And fame has no money attached to it. It's fame. Nest egg. The most money you can have sitting somewhere earning money. Not having to pay mortgage like you said, not having to pay child support, not having to pay that. For you to really sit $4, $5 million, 10, 50, $20 million somewhere that all it's doing is generating money at least 5%. Bro, that shit is beautiful.
I was just about to say, it's a beautiful thing when you look at them numbers and they be like, yeah, we just bought in 1.5, 1 mil.
That's my goal in life, baby.
Next, but what you're
saying, bring them checks
what
in
I want to say real quick is, all the young guys, make sure you take out that 40% for Uncle Sam. If you're making $1 million,
You do not have $1 million.
Gone. Don't think you got $1 million to spend. Don't go buy $1 million house, right? 400,000 is gone. So make sure you're accounting for that. But Chad, what would you advise them?
I mean, I talk to some of the young ones now, ask them what to do, and you mentioned financial advisor. I'm kind of weary about that. You know, obviously, because some of the situations and the stuff that I heard, you know, you had your problem with your dude.
They had their philosophies.
Yeah.
Right.
Other friends of mine that played during our era also had problems with financial advisors. I would tell most of them to talk to someone that they know that has had money and had handled large amounts of money before, and go that route. You know, no disrespect to anybody that is a financial advisor, but I'd like to talk to those that have handled money of large amounts before and how they were able to operate with it.
Give me your money. I know what to do with it.
Huh?
That's the
Not
problem.
for me and just them.
I
But
know
then,
what I'm saying. Like, I'm know what I'm saying. I know how to handle large amounts of money. So
Okay.
listen. Give me 4 M's and I'll make it do what it
there
do.
you go.
You gonna make it 8?
Y'all holler at Brandon Marshall. He knows what to do.
No, I'm talking to you.
Wait, it ain't. You want mine?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I know you got
It's
some
all put
M's.
up. Nest egg. It's all there.
Let me go.
That's the
Nah.
This is what I do. This is how I answer that, Fred. For
Before
me,
you get started, what would you recommend about their 401ks?
Selling
Because that
dope.
was an issue for a lot of guys.
yeah,
They
I
didn't
think
Listen to this.
they didn't want to put
It's-
money in a 401k.
put everything you can, and now I think it's like guaranteed. But you know, some guys like, oh, I don't want to put all into my 401k. Max it out.
Explain to what it is for the people at home that might not know.
Yeah,
The match. So if I'm getting
This
$10,000,
NFL too.
the NFL.
if my minimum or my max to put in is 10 grand,
the Jacksonville Jaguars going to put in
the
20.
Jags gonna put in 20,000.
They-
And then at one point it was
remember that, yeah.
25,000.
That's right.
That's free money.
Yeah,
Free money.
But you have a lot of guys that
we
didn't
do
want
it.
to put that
We
money
those
in.
team meetings. Some guys, well, I ain't trying to put the
stressing.
20 in right now.
Right.
What?
Right.
Put the 20 in. Think about 10, 20 years from now. So that's what I would say there. Family is going to be
Free money.
a big challenge for everybody. So have a game plan there.
And you can
know,
self-direct it at a
sit
point, I
down with
believe.
your family before you even play one snap and say, this is the game plan. You know, with your financial advisor.
Game plan.
This is how we gonna rock for my career, okay? That's number one. Number two, educate. Educate yourself, educate your family. And it's not just yourself, right? It's not, like you said, it's like, you know, we're learning, we're growing, but the biggest struggle is the people around us. So you gotta make sure that they're learning too. Mom, let's sit down with Rich France, my financial advisor. The same lessons that I'm getting, I want you to get, so we're on the same page. Ain't no miscommunication. The last thing I would say to the young guys is mental health. Like, that's critical. Take care of your mental.
Your chicken.
The
chickens. Like,
Take care of your chicken and
you
your
said
mental.
that?
Sean,
Marshawn, take care of your
But
chickens.
no, but no, mental health, like, that's a big thing, man, because, you know, one minute we could be hanging from the rafters after, you know, scoring a game-winning touchdown, making a big play, big hit, separating the receiver from the ball to make the game-winning play, winning the Super Bowl. And the next minute, you can be dealing with stress, you can be dealing with anxiety, you can be dealing with depression. That's big. You saw what Dak came out, what he dealt with, but that's a big deal. So those are the three things I would say, Fred.
Really, I think those are all important messages. I think when you have guys in prominent positions, guys such as LeBron James, guys in our league, you know, that were the big faces of our league, you know, they should also create funds or opportunities for younger guys who
peep
believe
out.
and will follow them to say, all right, let's turn this thing to generational status.
Yeah.
So we can fix the mistakes that people before us made. Let's create a pool of fun, much like what the people what the big hedge fund managers do. And that money, you know, at 5% on $1 billion, this is money that they can eat off forever, and their kids can eat off forever.
I love this
I
idea
think,
in this
all
part,
your
man.
messages were
That's what
were
we about.
brilliant. Our mistakes will be, you know, an opportunity for them to succeed, and I'm okay with that.
It's many
Because
different ways.
My goal in life is to share my message, and you shared your message tonight, and everybody else did too.
But Fred, I want to tell you that what you're talking about is hard money loans, and this is something too.
Not necessarily hard money loans.
But that's what it is,
That's
Fred.
a
If you
way.
get a bunch of money together and try to make money off it, you have hard money, and you're trying to invest it in something to make more than 5%, because if you leave it in the market and make 5%. Fred, I think
it's
that
different.
I think
It's
that
different.
is something that the NBA players had on the back of their jerseys. I want to say Andre Iguodala had group economics.
Group economics, right.
With the black culture, we don't trust people.
There's a reason why.
Fred, I do hard money loans now. I try to reach out to teammates and friends and say, hey, bro, let's get $500,000 together and we can invest in this hotel. We'll make 18% for the next 10 years on the hotel. We can sell it and get our money back and continue to make money. And dudes be like, bro, I ain't giving you 100 grand. I be like, bro, I'm putting my money in there too. Like, I got 100, we get 5 guys to put 100, we got 600, bro. We can buy a hotel.
When
like, bro, I'm not giving you $100.
When you've been deprived of resources and finances, you can't see past from me to you.
Yes. So
every
keep my money.
Every other nationality, they're thinking 20 year, 30 year, because they got time. Black people ain't never had shit.
Fred.
So they can't trust. It's the crab in the barrel mentality.
Yes.
And that's what has been conditioned to us. And it's unfortunate.
That's true, bro.
I see it all the time. You know, I'm always down to pool money and put money with people.
Yeah.
You know, at some point it has hurt me. At some point I've won. But at the end of the day, it's been a balance. I'm gonna find a way. God gonna find a way to make sure I'm good. And that's always been my faith. I'm gonna always have my season where I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna always have my season where I'm gonna learn. And then during that season when I'm learning, I'm helping teach everybody else because they looking up to me. They figure that I got it smooth and I got it made. That ain't the case. I struggle, I have ups, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be transparent, I'm gonna put it out there, I'm gonna tell you off top, you can run with me, but I don't know how this gonna be, but we gonna take a shot. And I'm gonna take my shot, but I'm gonna have some in the background. I'm gonna have a pillow back there just in case I fuck that up too. You know what I'm saying?
So, that's the nest egg, but
that's that nest egg.
Just a point, and I don't know how y'all feel about this, but let me know. Chicago, New York, all them big cities, Vegas and LA, they have a Chinatown, they have a Russian spot. Miami, Boca's where the Jewish people live. Think about all the Chinatowns around the thing and the Jewish people spot where everybody know and the Russians live and the Venezuelans live.
Look like we got to
where
add
black
in a
people
second.
live, it's just called the hood.
So I'm gonna let that play out. Man, that's crazy, man. Good convo. I'm surprised we only had one ad so far. All right, I think I can skip now.
Correct.
Y'all ever thought about that?
Right.
Where
of
Chinatown, where if there's people from China that come to the U.S. that immigrate here, they get together in Chinatown and make money together. Where black people live is always called the hood. They don't say African American town.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that is a ideology problem that African Americans have in this country.
But if you put it on a bigger scale, when everybody went and stripped Africa of its resources, they stripped the black people of their culture, which is the same resources at the very end of the day. We have to we're dependent upon everybody else. The biggest recipients of hair products are black people.
Yeah.
Who's selling the hair product?
Not black people.
The Asian people, that's their culture. You have to go into, not necessarily their community, because they're not afraid to put those shops in the black community. Black people are gonna think twice before they run up in that store to rob them. But if you was a black person and that was your store, they plotting on you from the gate. Because they feel like you ain't gonna give them nothing. If they're not plotting to rob you, they plotting to get 30, 40% off. You gonna hook me up today? If you don't hook them up, you're looked upon as a fucked up business person. At the end, that's just our mindset is crazy.
Gotta change
we gotta reset that way of thinking. It's so deep, but when you got 400 years of torture, of abuse, of manipulation, of this is the way you should think, PTSD, I keep saying it over and over again. Slavery was a reprogramming of our people to where we're still up today, where we fight against each other more than we fight against anybody else. Until we reprogram that, we're gonna always have that same fight. And that's gonna always be the issue in our plight to try and get respect.
And I think
that
to bring this back around though, to how we started the conversation is Guys that had a God-given ability to catch the ball, run route. Well, you ain't run no route. You just big, bro. Everybody know
Bro, I ain't run route.
but seriously though, guys that do get that money and do have that money, that have the mindset that we're talking about, it's tough for us to be the center of change. Like, bro, all I did was hit people. Like, I hit people in high school and got a scholarship. I hit people in college and got to the NFL. Hit people and got millions. Hit people, kept getting millions. That doesn't teach me how to change the group economics of the African American community. That
you have
didn't
an
teach me
opportunity
that.
to go back in the hood, your hood or somebody else's hood,
But Fred,
and try
I
to
tell
reach
you,
out.
I've reached out to dudes and tried to do a hotel, and dude be like, Crowder,
No, I'm talking
I
about.
ain't giving you no damn money.
I'm talking about the hood. I'm talking about the
Go
kid,
down to the
the
lowest,
inner
lowest.
city. Yeah, because the old guys, they've had the opportunity.
Yeah.
You can't teach them
Old
new
dog,
tricks,
new
bro.
tricks, yeah.
You got to start with the kids and pray and hope that somebody listens. You're gonna have a few others that want to do another lifestyle.
Yeah.
They gonna want to be a
But-
D-boy, or they gonna want to do something else.
But even
not
bigger-
to knock that, because a couple D-boys looked out for me and tried to put me on track. Now, here's a couple dollars, stay out the way. Something bigger gonna happen for you. And I respect them and I love them to this day. Whatever it might be, you gotta try. And the hood gotta try. You know what I'm saying? That mentality gotta go though.
Hey, on that money topic, you know what we didn't tell those dudes to do, man? Enjoy yourself. You gotta enjoy yourself. You work so hard to get to that point, man, and we don't know everybody's backstory.
Right.
But once you get there, man, that's a joy. You got to be able to enjoy your fruits of labor, but do everything in moderation.
In moderation,
You do it in moderation.
That's the key.
You're gonna be all right. Have the right people, on your team. You got to enjoy yourself, man.
That's the key.
Just think about your backstory on what you went through just to get to the league. And once you get there, then you got us telling you what to do with your money.
Yeah.
But you got to enjoy yourself. But just do it in moderation, man. Because 78% of us go broke?
Some funny numbers, but
Yeah.
basically.
Funny numbers.
But that's good. That was the end right there. Do it in moderation.
Man, that was good.
That was good. Yeah, we went in on
That
that.
was a good one.
That's one of those serious conversations. I didn't think it was gonna go that way, but that was good.
That was a good one. Hey, how much time costs?
Free. That boy said,
Free.
God. Hey, you preach, boy.
Fight to get a meal, yeah. Wrongfully accused, we had to fight to get appeals. That's why we right to get a deal. He on the team, he gotta eat, despite your skills. Keep it riding for the fam, you gotta light the wheels straight.
I think it was gonna go that way, but
Riding for the fam, wrongfully accused, we had to fight to get appeals. That's why we right to get a deal. He on the team, he gotta eat, despite your skills.
I was trying to get the spot that it was at. Lil Hen Breakfast and Eatery, shout out. Never been there, but really just trying to see if that's something other people can support too. Plus some oxtails is banging, even to a vegan. I don't know why Ocho didn't want to mess with him. Maybe he was too caught up in the combo. But yeah, I thought that was a solid episode, worth seeing it again. Let's see. I'll probably just put us there. Really appreciate y'all rocking with me on that one. I think overall I want to kind of just tap in, make sure on this side that y'all can actually hear what's going on. About to check Facebook to see it. Okay, it should be good. I think everything is looking good on the stream side. But yeah, it was a good episode in my opinion. Everything is looking good on the stream. Unapologetically, I love the concept of the finance world. I think if let me stop saying if. I know where I went to school for, I know what I was introduced to, I know what I didn't learn early on, what wasn't even talked about and where I was growing up. And that was this concept of the economics on a macro scale, so macroeconomics. I think from a microeconomics perspective, learning from maybe my parents or the people around me, there was some skills that I needed to learn on my own. There was some skills that I learned from family members, some lessons I didn't take to heart. But it's all a journey. I think that's what I took away a lot from this episode. Everybody can learn differently. Like Chad Johnson had a different perspective. Crowder had a different perspective. Brandon Marshall had a different perspective. Fred Taylor had a different perspective. I think in the beginning, Brandon Marshall was like, hey, everything that's tying us together that's universal, even to the listener, is money. We have a currency that we exchange for goods and services each and every day. And that also sometimes brings upon it brings upon responsibilities for everybody, and also some of us who may not necessarily have it as much, and some of those who have a lump sum, a large amount. And how do you balance each? Even the Bible speaks upon that, being a good steward, right? So from this understanding, it really made a good episode for me, and especially I think as a young black American male, someone that does look at sports and really looks up to a lot of people in the league, and that being some, even where I grew up, we got, I think now 3 guys that went pro, and seeing like people from the neighborhood or even playing sports with some of these guys, and now seeing them take on the next level of pro, and like, I mean, from my perspective at least, somebody that's starting a business and really getting into the finance sector, and hearing about the negative stories, hearing about the success stories, and even learning like we're all the same age, right? Just seeing one guy that I played football with, he just caught an interception on Aaron Rodgers, right? And that's the first thing you see on SportsCenter on the highlights of the game. It's like, wow, that's amazing. And now I think from the understanding of what I'm trying to do on my side with money, it's like, wow, that must be an incredible amount of responsibility, right? Like, I'm not the only person that played football with these guys growing up. I'm not the only one that saw my high school play football against these guys. So how many people in our community, how many conversations that are just trying to launch up now because you see one person out of the whole county that we grew up in on TV catching an interception, and really making a name and putting his family in a position to change generational curses. And it's incredible, because I think it allows for selfishness to slip in. I can only speak on this side as a non-pro athlete, of wanting somebody to do something for you, not knowing that what they had to go through mentally, even inside of their family, how many people are asking, how many random texts, changing your phone. So also on our end, thinking that the only way to be successful is to maybe get around that type of environment or go pro. There's a lot of different positions in this whole spectrum of the sports industry and the music industry. Get outside of that, the finance industry. And I think it's really powerful that Brandon Marshall said in the beginning that we're all universally tied to money. And there's 100, 200, 300, however million ways to get it, right? But you just got to find the process. And I think part of the lessons that these young men have even spoke on is their process, their journeys. They all had different ways about doing things. For instance, Chad Johnson, he was very frugal, right? He kept saying, I think I wrote it down, fiscal responsibility multiple times, right? His concept, he lived 2 years, 2 or maybe even 3, I think it was 2 for sure, years in the facility. That's rent free, right? That's an opportunity. I don't know if other people had the same opportunity, but it was a risk that you're willing to take to get a better payout at the end of it, at the end of whatever you think this career might be, right? And we say, okay, that's an athlete and the facility is amazing. But I'm thinking about people that lived in cars just to make their dreams come true. There's like this underlying theme of people who are successful in this place where there was a sacrifice. And then you think about maybe the Dave Ramsey structure where there's sacrifices early on, like not going out to eat every day. For me, not going to Chipotle every week, right? Because there's not a lot of vegan spots I could just bang up to and get $10 worth of food and be good. But going there 5 times a week, I don't think I ever hit 5 times a week, but probably 2-3 times a week. That's 10, that's 17, that's another 15. That adds up. Small numbers add up, right? So, and shout out to Larry June, because I got that from Hassan. Don't got it off the hand, but it's about the responsibility that we have on both sides. Whether you become a very famous XYZ or you become incredible in your corporate job, I think the flight of any American sometimes, and especially those who may not even have that in their generational, like in their family, in their bloodline, money or success like that, learning how to deal with other people around you and how to benefit them. And I think as towards the end of the video, we started to see in everybody's different concepts. On my note, I would just definitely say from the fun section, I definitely related to a lot because that's what I'm starting, right? I'm learning how to start my own fund. There's a lot of red tape, as they say, with launching it. But once you launch it and you look at the statistics, maybe statistics that I try not to even look at, but I'm quite sure it's out there. Like, what is the success rate? And you look at the pipeline. Going to college taught me a lot about. I always look at. I like to pull back the curtains, right? what's going on behind the scenes? Who's benefiting on this outside of me, right? There's the surface level, get my degree, and then there's this whole academia or this structure of how you become president, you become the dean, you become the associate provost, XYZ, whatever. Titles hold a lot of weight in different industries, right? Just like first round gets you more money than fourth round, these guys said. You got to know what you're playing and know the game. I'm going to get to the point. So the point here is, what is it that you are a part of right now? And what's going on behind the scenes? How are you benefiting somebody else? And then I learned in my world and what I believe the world of finance, there's rules to the world of finance. There's banking, right? There's investment banking. There's also financial advisors. There's fund managers, who runs your 401k. There's a lot of titles and, like this guy said, philosophies. And it's not something that I ever really looked at until I got really interested in wanting to learn how to improve my standard of life through making more money and making my family or helping my family get to a position of making more money, helping community. And that world there, and I'm kind of going to where Crowder said, hard money loans is a strategy, but the funds is a fundamental structure of how America or Wall Street, name the finance sector, works. A venture capital firm has a fund to invest in startups, right? A private equity firm has a fund to invest in other businesses, right? You have these funds that are put together as, and full disclosure, because it's YouTube, it's Twitch, it's everything. I am not an accountant, CPA. I cannot give professional advice on money. Like this guy said, go get you some professional help. These guys said, I am not an attorney. I cannot give legal advice. I am not an attorney. And I agree wholeheartedly. Go out there, save you some bread. I worked in the dealership. $100,000 Escalade, $200,000 Benz, right? You got $40,000 Benzes. You got $30,000 Benzes. Those add up. And if you start getting financial, start getting a loan on it, that's money coming out plus interest. Sacrifices, like Chad Johnson said, maybe we go get the lawyer first. Man, these guys got an attorney on retainer, so anytime something happened, they could go reach out. So we need the same thing in our community. So back to what I'm saying, the fundamental principle here is when we talk about money, there's a game to it. Just like when you go to school or if you go into the NFL, there's politics, right? Elections coming up, there's rules to the game. Like you got to understand how does a bill get pushed through? How do you get nominated as the candidate of a major party, Republican, Democrat? Again, we don't bash on this channel. We are just all game. So, but there's rules to any game. You got to know how to play the game. And that is something that I will definitely hint at. Like the fund structure, I love it. I love that idea. I really do, especially in the NFL. There's something out there, go research it, called family offices. That's when you have a lot of money in a family, and I'm simplifying this, oversimplifying it, and they literally have a firm, like almost like their own banking system for their family's estate. And they literally go out there and they go invest this money into funds sometimes, or they create their own funds. So if you are out there thinking about investing in startups, which a lot of successful people have done, if you've invested in, there's an article out there, you're probably tired of watching me talk anyway, but there's an article out there about what $10,000 in Amazon would be worth today. And at some point, you may not have the money all by yourself, but if you were part of a fund, which you have to typically be an accredited investor, I could break that down in a whole nother topic. I know today we just talking about game, but it says it right here. I know you can't see my cursor, but it says Amazon Inc. held an initial public offering. That's when a company goes public, which happens with a lot of investment bankers and XYZs. And it was debuted on the NASDAQ on May 15th, 1997 at a price of $18 per share. $10,000 invested into that at that price would be worth $12 million as of May 2020. So if you would have been a part of a fund or would have been an accredited investor, actually the fund part goes probably before this, which is a whole nother topic. But if you are just a retail investor, these could be, what do they say? these results are not normal and does not equal success in the future, whatever that disclosure is, that's why you need an attorney. That means, hey, like somebody figured they didn't know Amazon might have been that great, but maybe they had a whim. That's why it's called speculating. But can you imagine being on it before, being a part of the growth of Amazon to get to the point of becoming an IPO? That's what funds are. So a little bit more before I let y'all go. I love the idea also about speaking on that fund aspect. 401ks. Like I said, also go join our Discord. We can have more conversation, talk throughout the day. I sent the link in on every chat box on Twitch, YouTube, and also I think I put it on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Sorry, Facebook showed me the most love, so I much appreciate y'all. But I got some notes here. They said the NFL. Again, I can't give advice. I'm just speaking about it generally as a fan of the NFL, somebody that's looking to do something with my own nest egg. He said 401k, I think I'm quoting this exactly, ... Put everything you can in it. Max it out. That was his words. I don't know how it is to be in the NFL, but he felt enough within his experience to say that. And one of the things that stuck out is I know what is the max. We can even look that up. So we're a group of facts out here. We like to get the results and learn from me. Learn how I like to research. I go to IRS and I try to go straight to the source, right? There's a lot of, like this guy said, philosophy. But what is the government telling me is the limitations? Usually they try to get to the point, and if you need some more understanding, you go hire a CPA. So you think about, I read this last night, the 401k aspect here. Throw on my blinders. Guys don't get boggled down by all my tabs and stuff. But it says the 401k, where did I see? It has some limitations on it. How much can you... where was I at? Trying to see. Okay, types of retirement plans. 401k, okay. It's in here. I think it's just in establishing, to be honest. Or maybe it could be... Oh, there it is. Learn how to work these sites. Sometimes they're not super easy, but sometimes they're easy and you just miss it. So here, these can change periodically. So today you can see this video and it can change depending on policies, depending on who gets elected. We're watching elections. If you're in your 20-somethings, it's what I think this is our second election. It's really a lot to learn. I mean, I had a government class way back then, but now I'm taking another one on Khan Academy because I don't know a lot of this stuff. When I was in school, maybe I didn't feel like politics was the most interesting thing to me. But coming out of school, I know how important it is. I got to make a decision. I got to make an informed decision. I don't think my parents sent me to college to come out to make uneducated guesses out here in the world. We want to be able to help. And even if you don't go to college, just people pouring into you with information, don't take it in vain. So I like to go to the source, try to figure it out. And I've had multiple retail jobs. I've had a couple jobs offer me 401ks, and I never really ever got told to go to irs.gov.gov where they establish the limits. What is it that I can see from the top and then work my way down and get the philosophies? So here it says their limits of right now, deferral limits in 2020 are $19,500. Says deferral limits for simple 401k plans, so they're different. Again, I'm not a financial advisor in this regard. I'm just coming here and to give you some examples. So if I'm looking at it correctly here, it looks like, and let's just go ahead and Google straight up, see what is the max contribution for a 401k 2020. And you can just Google stuff. So 19,500, that's based off the 401k. Good old Google gives it straight to us at the top. It also checks back up here where I see 19,500. It looks like it went up from 19,000 in 2019. So depending upon where you're at in the world of economics and stature, these guys in the NFL, I think, are underneath the same rules at 19.5. And these guys are saying, hey, if I invest the max, the NFL will then match me XYZ. And I think that's based upon where you're actually at also in this section. So they were saying at one point it was 25,000. So if they put in 10, from what it says, like, is the understanding, the NFL, their team, I don't know if it's the league, how they get paid, they would match them $20,000, which is like, for any of us, if I put in $100 working at Carry Inc., and then next thing you know, my employer is gonna double that, they're gonna put in $200,000. It's just like incredible to know that, like, wow, there's still some disconnect sometimes or where people might be a little worrisome, because it's the educational aspect. If I give you my money before I see it, what are you going to do with it? And that's a very reasonable question to ask anybody. Your 401k, your IRA, even private investment funds. Read the prospectus, get your lawyer to read it over. And it's really interesting to know that, like, that's a lot of money. That's like almost saying free money. If I give you 10 pre-tax, right, you're going to put 20 in pre-tax, and I'm going to be able to compound that all the way until I don't get a 401k no more. And I think we could do calculations here all day, but the point is like, wow, like, there is still a level of understanding, even for myself. How many of us have had 401k plans and have even elected to go and don't know where the money is going, where the election is going? And not to point out on the other side, which is a very reasonable point, how much do you educate? How much can you do? What does the law say you have to do? Because sometimes people will only do the bare minimum. If you give them their money, they will do the bare minimum. Maybe for legal reasons. If they give you any more, they're held liable. That's the world that we live in. But for us to know that even with money, it doesn't always equate, being, there's different types, qualified or educated and in investments, because you have to do it. You have to practice it. You know, your first time giving your check to your 401k, you may not ask as many questions as opposed to 2 years later. But if we could get ahead of the curve, know what questions to ask, well, no, okay, I know my limit is XYZ. Why does it benefit me to even get a 401k? Okay, because it's pre-tax money. Okay, because compound interest will then work with the pre-tax money. And then when I pull it out later, it's a potential. Maybe it's what you believe in the future. Hey, if I can make sure that my investments make the most sense, that I believe I'll continually make XYZ gain, and I know it can go up or down, but over the long haul, I have a good return on my money, on pre-tax money, and then when I pull it out, I'll be getting taxed. But at least I let that money work with more in hand than if I got taxed and put it in. But then there's another one, Roth IRAs. So you max out all of these different structured opinions, that you may run into different opportunities, and then you may want to roll some money into a self-directed IRA, or you want to roll, or maybe you have just cash that you want to work into the system and say, hey, okay, I'm maxed out, because these things have maxes. And they have maxes, in my humble professional opinion, because typically they don't want to put a max on something that's bad or something that won't benefit you too much. So there must be a benefit if they have to max it out, right? So when they max it out, then that means you probably, if you were able to put everything in it, it probably wouldn't be good. Too much of anything. Moderation is what I think these guys said. But there probably is a sweet number where it could be even better, but they have to max it. So maybe there's a reason why I should want to hit that max if it makes sense for me. So I won't pound too much on the Wall Street funds and stuff, but just to recap, I do like funds. I don't necessarily all the way believe that they are hard money loans. That is a type of investment strategy that you can do, like a fix and flip, right? If I'm a fix and flip investor, I fix a house and I flip it, I might go get a hard money loan from an investment fund, whatever structure they may be under, and then they provide hard money loans for these fix and flips where you can't go to a bank and get it. So I think he had the whole concept right. Hey, we're pooling our money and we're going to try to make some money on it. That is a fund, and funds can do hard money, but they can also go fund themselves, go flip the property themselves. They can go buy the hotel and pay for the renovation because they have so much money pooled, and then try to make that whole nest egg of money, or pool of money, forgive me, turn into a better return on their investment, ROI. Or they can pool up a money, leverage up, which leverage is basically, actually let's Google that, because I always dance around what does leverage mean. I'm gonna try to get the definition, the finance definition. Probably will pop up Investopedia. Okay, leverage definition. Leverage results from using borrowed capital, right, as a funding source when investing to expand the firm's asset base and generate returns on risk capital. Leveraging is an investment strategy of using borrowed money, specifically the use of various financial instruments or borrowed capital. So one of those various instruments could be a hard money loan, to increase the potential return on investment, ROI. Leverage can also be referred to the amount of debt a firm uses to finance. So leverage ratios, for instance, is something that you might see. So if you think about it, if I go to the bank with 10% down, I'm going to buy a house, I've just leveraged, I put 10% down. Let's say I had $100, right? And then I take $10 and put it in a house. Well, if I put all the $100 in the house, because the house costs $100, this is an amazing house price, right? Then I have all my money in. But if I have 10% here, 10% here, 10% there, you do the math, you could buy 10 houses if you get the same rate, and you could put that money. Now you have assets that have a value. You may not have that much equity, which is the difference between your debt and what you paid off. So now you may have still the asset, you can sell it. It may not be liquid, meaning I can go tomorrow and sell it right away, but you have an asset, and the leverage you have in is still going to be your risk. That's really the liability there, right? And you have to pay that off every month. So getting back to the point of what we talked about with the funds and leveraging, it's a great opportunity for you to leverage up, but it's not necessarily a hard money loan. Funds don't equal hard money loans, but that's okay because this concept is still the same. We still got to change our mindset to even, if we want to do something like that, how do we even have it? And not everything is not for everybody. Everything is not for everybody. People have their different ways, but I think overall, holistically, like from a overview, a lot of the Wall Street activity happens not in every community. Let's just say it like that. Not in everybody, right? But we do play around with the retail. Some of us are very skilled in the retail space. Robinhood has opened doors for a lot of people. Cash App, Webull, those type of brokerage. But can you imagine, in addition to that, potentially what you could do, maybe getting on before? And that's just a question that you may ask: is it worthwhile? And it's never a reason to always. I try my best to diversify and learn as much as I can with education. So when you're put in a position to make those moves, you may not make a one-sided approach. Like, I love real estate, but tomorrow I may still feel the need to diversify my portfolio with other things. Like, I also love technology. And you got to know what you know, and you got to love what you know as well, and lean on maybe the expertise of other people. But what did Fred Taylor say? Always have a pillow. And those pillows could be these structures like a 401k, a Roth IRA, an IRA, or some type of or CD, whatever investment you might even feel safe. You can lower the risk as well with other type of investment forms. And then you make it to the point where you say, hey, I've maxed these out, right? I'm seeing a return here. But I want to see how maybe I can go into more of an offensive approach. Then you may start getting into alternative investments, buying wine, buying high-end art. Some could argue buying a collection of sneakers is an alternative investment. Getting into hedge funds, getting into private equity. These are all different types of alternatives, but should they be your number one? I can't tell you what to do, but I would always lean on what the government says. Diversify. What does IRS say about it? What does the SEC, the governing board of these private investments, or even the public sector say? And then maybe make your own educated choice with the advisement that you need. So I want to tap into a little bit more about what I saw. Those are my biggest takeaways. I love the fact that, if you are maybe a believer in Christ, God's going to find a way. I'll always be good, Fred Taylor said. So, not being fearful. I think even if it's not based off of faith for you, but investment is supposed to make you feel like you're making a decision on all the information you had to make a decision for the future. So investment may not feel good sometimes early on, but if it in the end works out to be better than you expected, odds are the pain up front was worthwhile. And knowing that you'll always be okay is a level of faith and some type of like confidence that everything will work itself out. Now, don't blindly hand your trust to people, advisors, fund managers, or anybody with the money. Know your X's and O's was something else that I got. And I definitely think that having that sense of knowing that investment is not an overnight thing. I don't get $1 in and $100 tomorrow every single time. And even if I get it, it may not happen again like that. I could get 1 in and 100 down or something. That's just the nature of investment. So you want to find your strategy that works for you. And then also being the center of change in your community. That's big. I mentioned that some guys went pro in my neighborhood, and that happens every year across every community, and sometimes the world. They draft internationally, right? There's sports outside of American economics. I mean, soccer money is incredibly large contracts overseas as well. So, this happens in so many communities, but you go from structuring your life on whatever. This could go corporate as well. Like, you've been going to school, you've been doing everything you can, and then finally you get your break and you become the corporate head, or you've been researching and learning everything you can, and then you finally start your business and boom, it takes off. You IPO and now you have $1 trillion market cap. Being the center of change is a lot of pressure for any woman or man. And this could be really an area of life that boggles you down early on. But it doesn't have to be $1 trillion market cap millionaire status. It could just be the person in your family that actually has a check that gives you a 401k option, where you've done everything that is literally changing the dynamics of niece, nephew, your kids, or even your grandmama and your mom or your grandpa or your dad, because they are seeing you make those changes. You really have to get around a solid team to have faith that this is going to work out for the better. I'll go back to there. It says whatever it might be, you have to try. The hood has to try. And they talked about some things that, I don't like to pick sides, but it is a good point. Like, a neighborhood that is called a hood, no matter what minority or non-minorities that live in it, that mindset of this is the least favorite place for maybe wealthier middle class Americans to live in. Is it worth never going back or never even trying to reach out to people who can educate and start with little changes, with just the education of words, so that way when they go into a bank or go into a situation, they're at least a little bit more prepared than they would just going in blindly. And then having the opportunity for those who don't have their best interest in mind, to make these decisions for them, or maybe even just tell them very haphazard type of advice that, hey, you're on your own, because we're in a sue you first society here. So a lot of people don't go the extra end because maybe they're not paying to learn how to say it. But that's another argument for later. And do everything in moderation. I think to end it on that was really key. You want to have fun. A lot of people, I know, maybe in my growing up environment, we learned to have fun too fast, right? Go get it. Go finance it. Go slap it down with this. Go make it happen. But I think when you are blessed to maybe get above, have some equity, have some money in the bank, no debt type situation. Like I call it, golden net zero, no debt. Like, I'm good. That's a good place to be. You could be broke, but not in debt, and just look at the bright side. You don't have something holding you back. You don't have to make money and then turn around and go pay somebody, right? You're a net zero. You can still feel that way and still say, okay, I want to have fun in moderation. Now I get a check and I can go out and eat. Now I get a check, I can see the car and I know I can afford the payment, but maybe that moderation may not be for me. And I think if you do come blessed and you get a lump sum of money, you may have a quicker decision to say, hey, I could go. You get a bonus, right? You get anything. It's like, hey, I could go out and get, but you might want to say, okay, maybe I tried this at my level before. Maybe it's not wise to level up and still do those same things. I tried this when I was making minimum wage, and I splurged because I had a little extra, so I started going from one corporation that sells me fast food to the one that sells me a little fancier fast food, and that put me back behind because I was doing it with a credit card, and that put me in a little debt. Now that I'm net zero, I don't need to do that when I level up, and now I don't go to fast food all the time, but I'm going to lunch, and I'm eating out every week. Or you get $1 million signing bonus, and then boom, I'm going to buy a house and buy a car. But like they said, taxes, learning how to handle that situation, learning where to put it to make money, learning how, okay, I got a lot up front, how can I keep it making me money, so when I'm not doing this and it's not paying me a lot, how can I still live off the fruits of my labor long term, because my money worked for me, I didn't work for my money. Right before we head on out, I definitely want to talk about, lastly, stressing the point again. Well, I think Chad put it also, who are you trying to impress? That's a big problem with me. Who are you trying to impress? And it's not like no critical thing. It's just literally an inside question. When you sit down, look in the mirror, take a swim, whatever you do to relax yourself, who do you try to impress? And that is really a big thing. Like, flash is crazy sometimes, man. It's crazy. Not only do I have maybe my own concepts about being flashy, but flash itself can be a self-destruction for you. Sometimes you go out, you get the opportunity to make good money, and then you go put it into something that may make you feel really good. I think my camera went out, but hopefully y'all can still hear me. It's not bad to get something you like, right? It's just, have you ever thought about, is the feel, like Chad, I really like when he said the feeling and knowing that I can go get it. There's enough satisfaction in that. And I mean, some of us may not go to the extremes that Chad may, and who's to say that's even extreme? Because that's what he wanted to do. He wore replica stuff. And I mean, for some people may say, well, he's famous, he's rich, he's whatever. If you like him or don't like him, it's probably safe to say that if he had that contract and the way that he was living, he had enough money to go buy the real thing. But he felt that he didn't need it at that point. He wasn't impressing nobody, and it did exactly what he wanted it to do for him. He may not even felt like he wanted to get the replica. Maybe he doesn't even get anything, and that's okay. Everybody has their own way. But if you do go out and go get an AP watch, right? Or you do go get a Rolex, or you go get a purse, you get a Birkin bag, or you go get a car, and some may not be able to do that. No, you shouldn't be judged for that. I think internally for you, that conversation is this for impressing somebody, or is this because this is naturally what I wanted to do and I'm able to make it and it's within my plan? Yeah, I'm splurging, but I plan for that because I sacrifice here. Or yeah, I got it, so I'm gonna go get it. And that's fine because I know I want it. It's not I'm impressing nobody. I think that's really big, young or old, nobody. That's universal. It starts when you're in school. It starts when you meet the first person that got a better pair of shoes than you. Are you getting the shoes because you want to impress those people, or are you getting the shoes because it's like, hey, those are nice, I wanted those and now I can get it? It's within what my plan says. I don't know if you're doing this at 5, but if you learn early, that'll travel through your life when you're 40. And also get an attorney and counsel, man. Like I'm excited, man. The day we can bring Rooting for Us All to Win Academy to a place where we can bring on in-house attorneys and accountants, and even though they still can't give you advice, it's a skill. Just like you go to a doctor, they go to school to learn how to become a doctor. They get some type of license to become able to practice medicine. Same thing with attorneys. They don't know everything, but they went through the process to be licensed to do what they do, and that's practice law or become an accountant. And those people are very, I think, instrumental in making change in any family, because that investment, it seems so much at times, but you have to ask yourself, and one of those items, it can easily rack up very large. A good stay at the Hotel Versailles. I mean, Versace over there in Dubai or anything. I'm not naming anybody, right? Any luxury or exciting thing, or even the small things that add up. Can that decision be made after I go get the advice to help me keep this long term? And then how do you entrust those people and balance those people? I go back to the conversation with government, and I went over about 5 minutes, but I think this is worthwhile. Knowing how to also balance those people and put checks and balances in place for you. You are a business. You are Your Name Inc. Knowing that and making that investment is important for you, even if you're not, and even if you're not an entity. Just having that legal advice for your family, for you, it's sensationally going to make change for you in the future. And that investment, especially when you're in a place you could touch 200, 300,000, 50,000, go buy something cash. Maybe putting that on retainer is going to work a long way, because now I can ask simple questions. And this may be too much, but we got to get this in for another day. But like, we sign contracts every day, terms and services. What do you think that is? That's a contract. Anything that's in paper that you agree to is a contract. And it don't hurt nobody to just take another look. That's all I'm saying. But from there, knowing your overhead is key. Just because you have money don't mean you have to spend it. I'm going to leave my favorite quote for the end. Sacrifice early. We saw Chad do it. We saw a lot of these guys, they talk about the sacrifice, even going through school. Like, I mean, sometimes it's sacrifice waking up, but sacrificing early, man. Grind early. You'll be able to shine later. And I mean, you don't never got to lose the grind, but early on, if you don't get the crib, you don't get the car, you don't get the credit to max it out, you don't do this, that early, and you get it to a place where that money start working for you. So yeah, you're not flashing early, but then that money start working, and then later you like, oh yeah, bet, I got it, I'm good, and it's coming in right, and it keep coming in. Sacrifice early, and there's no one way. And then lastly, whenever you're doing something, always ask who's benefiting from my investment, who's benefiting from my time. sometimes. That's a very responsible question to ask, especially if you're putting your money in a site. If I'm putting my money into a bank, if I'm putting my money into a fund, if I'm putting, and look up accredited investors. Everybody just can't jump into funds, but with the right structure, I do believe more people can start a fund as opposed to immediately start investing in a fund. There's a pay scale. They just changed the rule. Of course, you got to go to a securities attorney, know what type of attorneys to talk to. But yeah, who benefits from this? And even if it's a social thing, that's fine, but you want to know, because that's how you can tell where people's intentions might be, and you can drive into that factor. Well, if this is benefiting you, then more if it's benefiting me, I have more to lose. This is an imbalanced relationship. We need to recheck this. I guess basically that's really what I got. I really wanted to end it on Chad Johnson's aspect here. I think his grandma put it. His grandma was his financial advisor. So sometimes it don't take fancy degrees, fancy experience to know how to handle money. And all numbers add up, again, to Larry June. So if you know how to add these numbers and you safe and responsible with it, who's to say you can't also help? And then also there's some very professional people, professional things as you start to branch out. Like I said, some people get licensed. You wouldn't go to everybody to do heart surgery on you 9 times out of 10, hopefully 99.9% times, but you go to somebody that's been to school, maybe have done it before, but most times we're okay with most people putting the Band-Aid on us, right? So it comes in varies in levels. But his grandma said one incredible thing: the fool and his money shall soon part ways. And a fool, you can make the definition for it, whatever you believe being foolish with money is. Again, this is a free space, but internally, your nest egg, your money. What do you think is a foolish decision as you learn, as you start running into hurdles? And just remember what this wonderful woman has said: the fool and his or her, because it could be multiple people, doesn't have to be one gender, and his or her money shall soon part ways. And I don't know about you, but sometimes it's hard to live life by it. I definitely believe what Fred Taylor is saying about, if you're spiritual, that God will always make a way. And I know sometimes it can be really tough, especially in your family, where the people that you look up to, brother, sister, auntie, mother, whatever, people, friends or whatever, they put a lot of emphasis on their happiness and where their money is. It can be real tough knowing that a foolish decision puts you in a position where now your money has parted ways. But it don't mean it can't come back. And that's what it's about. So tune in again. We went over 10 minutes, but I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Y'all also dealt with me for about 10 minutes with technical difficulties. I'll go back and look in, hoping the audio didn't cut out. But I did record it, so if I need to, I could place it again out there. And I know the audio should definitely be working on my record side. So I'm looking forward, and I'm humbly grateful that we are starting this journey. I'll be back on live later. We got a chess beat up, and I'll also do a nice little homeroom set series. I'll be grinding out for the next few weeks, just getting this rolling, and I can't wait to have people join on in. If you're interested in being interviewed, please reach out, or you're interested in joining the show, reach out and join the Discord server. I can't say it enough. That is a community. I like the fact that we can go back and forth, and as we expand, I can also add the Discord chat on the left. So instead of me jumping from Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and always forget YouTube, and seeing 3 different chat boxes, I'm pretty sure I could do it through Restream. But I can actually have it pop up live on this. I can just add that Discord overlay. So all that means is when you type something, I'll see it even if we're watching a video, and people can interact at the same time. And then later, if you will decide to join our membership and you want to upgrade, then we'll also have these live sessions where you'll come on in. Or even if you want to reach out now and say, hey, I would love to be a part of the show, we'll figure out how to put another box there on this overlay side, and we'll be able to talk live, and we'll go live and have other people hear your perspective as well. So I love y'all, appreciate y'all rocking with me, and I'll see y'all later. But with that being said, good episode, and thank you to I Am Athlete, and really appreciate the aspect of seeing just people that I think a lot of us have been fans, or even on one side, but just looked at the sport, been fans of their sport, speak about how it feels to come into a lot of money and how to manage it and how to be responsible with it. So thank you. I'll see you.